Since ancient times, human beings have listened to the voices of nature, of heaven and earth, of sages and enlightened ones. There are teachings that time cannot erase, echoing across countless generations. They are like reverberations from a deep cave. Even after 1,000 years, the sound still lingers. Echo of wisdom is precisely those sounds, reminders of the truth already within us. Each saying is like a bell, calling us to pause, reflect, and see the light shining in our own lives. And in this first part, we will listen to the echo of self-respect, the highest form of self-love, the echo of suffering, not to destroy us, but to awaken us from the dream of ignorance, and the echo of impermanence, the law that teaches us to cherish the present moment. 1. Self-respect, the highest form of self-love. When we learn to return and rely on ourselves, we are no longer a fragile leaf carried by the wind, but a tree standing firm amid the storm. Self-respect is not arrogance, but the deepest love we can offer ourselves. We build trust in who we are, granting ourselves agency and freedom. When we are less dependent on others, we no longer live under the illusion that happiness comes from the outside. True happiness is a spring within. Once we return and open our hearts, it flows by itself. The Buddha taught us this. Each person has the ability to generate peace without waiting for anyone else to bestow it. The Creator, or the universe, has placed within every being a wondrous seed. Each person has a role, a mission in the journey of evolution. No one is higher, no one is lower. Another's success does not make us small. Another's failure does not make us contemptuous. Everything follows the law of dependent origination, ripening at the right time, contributing to the growth of the soul. Therefore, let us learn to see all things with equality and compassion. When we see another succeed, we smile. It is simply their flower blooming in its season. When we see another stumble, we do not judge. We simply know they too are on a journey, just like us. Self-respect means recognizing that we too are worthy of light, of love, of trust. And when we truly love ourselves, we are no longer bound by illusions of external happiness. We begin to live as free beings, travelers on the path home, the path of awakening and liberation, self-respect and inner freedom. Humans often measure their worth through the eyes and judgments of others. When praised, we rejoice. When criticized, we grieve. When abandoned, we feel hollow. This is the state of a fragile leaf in the wind, without firm roots. Living this way, we endlessly chase recognition, forgetting that the roots of peace lie within. This is why we must cultivate self-respect to rediscover inner freedom. Many mistake self-respect for arrogance. Arrogance arises when we feel superior and constantly compare to prove ourselves. But self-respect is an inner knowing of value, without the need to display it. A person with self-respect does not shout, "Look at me." They simply live with stability, unmoved by praise or blame. Like a silent mountain yet majestic, like a flower blooming not for applause, but because its season has come, and so it naturally gives fragrance. The Buddha once said, "Be a lamp unto yourself." This is a powerful affirmation of self-reliance. Self-respect begins with the return to one's own refuge. We may receive support from outside, but if we do not trust ourselves, sooner or later we will fall when that support is gone. Self-respect is like a tree with deep roots, drawing nourishment from the earth, not relying on the fickle rains. Happiness does not come from others. Many search for love, fame, wealth to fill the emptiness inside. But the more they search, the more exhausted they become. Because true happiness does not come from being given, but from the ability to connect with the inner source. A person with self-respect understands, "I am worthy of happiness, and I have the power to create it." They can love and open to others, but they are no longer dependent. The love they give becomes free, unbound. Freedom is not only being physically unchained, but also being free from spiritual slavery. When self-respect grows strong, we are no longer governed by others' eyes or prejudices. We can live true to ourselves, follow our own path, without the pressure to conform or please anyone. This is inner freedom, a form of liberation within everyday life. Self-respect allows us to cherish ourselves, and when we truly know how to love ourselves, it becomes easier to love others. A hollow vessel cannot pour water, but when full, it can give generously. Those who respect themselves also tend to respect others. They do not belittle, they do not impose, because they understand. Value is not found in comparison, but in the equal existence of every soul. Self-respect and steadfastness in adversity. Adversity is like fire testing gold. Only when thrown into the harshest of trials do we know whether we are truly resilient or not. Some surrender and collapse, others rise from hardship, even shining brighter than before. A person with self-respect does not easily lose themselves to temptation or pressure. When misunderstood, they do not hastily cry out to justify themselves, for they know their character will shine on its own with time. When faced with failure, they do not rush to conclude that they are worthless, for they understand failure is merely a lesson on the long journey. Like a great tree, storms may break a few branches, strip away a few leaves, but the trunk still stands tall, for its roots have sunk deep into the earth. Self-respect is precisely those roots helping us remain steady amidst turbulence. There is a saying, "One who loses everything but keeps their self-respect still possesses the full strength to begin again." History has witnessed countless figures who proved this truth. Many sages, though exiled, never lost their virtue. They allowed time and truth to testify, rather than letting adversity define them. Thus, steadfastness is not mere rigidity, but flexible strength with deep roots. Self-respect teaches us how to stand firm, yet also how to bow when needed. And so, after the storms, we do not merely survive, but grow like a tree after the tempest, greener and stronger. 2. Suffering does not come to destroy us, but to awaken us from the dream of ignorance. In life, everyone longs for happiness and fears suffering. We often see suffering as the enemy, as darkness to avoid, as misfortune to eliminate. But if we look with deeper eyes, we will see suffering does not come to annihilate us. It comes to awaken us, to pull us out of the dream of ignorance in which we are lost. It is like someone asleep in a burning house. The loud calls, the alarm bell may startle and irritate us, but only through that do we escape and save our lives. Suffering is like that. It is the bell of awakening, the nature of suffering and ignorance. The Buddha pointed out in the Four Noble Truths, suffering is the very first truth. We come to realize the nature of life is impermanence, beyond our grasp. We suffer because we want to hold on to what will be lost. We suffer because we cling to the self that does not truly exist. We suffer because we believe something outside can grant eternal happiness. These very beliefs are the dream of ignorance, and suffering comes to shatter that dream. It teaches us that life is a flowing river. Nothing stands still. That true happiness is not found in grasping, but in letting go and resting in the present. Imagine a swordsmith. Without fire, steel cannot harden. Without grinding, a blade cannot sharpen. Likewise, without suffering, our souls cannot mature. Loss teaches us to cherish. Loneliness teaches us to return to ourselves. Failure teaches us humility and wisdom. Illness teaches us to value each breath. Suffering is a stern teacher, yet full of compassion. It takes away our illusions, only to return truth. It casts us down into the abyss, yet from there forces us to spread our wings. When suffering comes, we have two choices: to complain or to transform. If we complain, we repeat the cycle of suffering. If we transform, suffering becomes fuel for our awakening. Many enlightened beings endured the depths of suffering before finding the light. The Buddha himself abandoned palaces and riches, entered the forests, endured hunger and trials to discover the path of liberation. So too with many great figures of history, adversity awakened them, and from there they offered light to humanity. A person who has lost all wealth may come to see the value of compassion. One who has failed in love may discover themselves. One who has wandered in darkness may learn how to light the candle within. Suffering is the doorway to awakening. Look back at the moments of suffering in your life. Was it not true that after each trial you became more mature, more profound, more mindful, more compassionate toward yourself and others? Suffering is a doorway. Step through it, and you will find life more expansive, consciousness clearer, and love more boundless. If we keep fearing and avoiding it, we remain standing outside, never glimpsing the radiant room within. When we learn to smile at suffering, it loses its destructive power. It becomes a companion, reminding us not to fall asleep in ignorance. So when suffering knocks at your door, do not only ask, "Why me?" Instead ask, "What is suffering here to teach me?" And then you will see at the heart of suffering lies a seed of awakening, waiting to sprout. Suffering does not come to destroy you. It comes to give you new eyes, to help you see what life truly is, and to guide your steps onto the path of awakening calm, steady, and free. 3. Impermanence, the law that teaches us to cherish the present. This life is inherently impermanent. Flowers bloom and wither, the moon waxes and wanes, the day that has just begun already drifts into night. Nothing stands still, nothing lasts forever. Many, upon hearing of impermanence, feel sadness because it reminds them of separation and loss. Yet in truth, it is precisely because of impermanence that every moment becomes precious. If cherry blossoms bloomed all year round, we would no longer tremble with wonder at their brilliance under the spring sunday. If humans lived forever, we would not know how to treasure a single embrace, a glance, or a loving word. Impermanence is the mirror that awakens us. Everything we have today is fragile, and therefore more worthy of our reverence than ever. When we understand impermanence, we learn to live fully. We learn to smile at the small things, to listen to our own breath, to give our loved ones our full presence instead of promises of a tomorrow that may never come. We learn to let go of meaningless grudges, knowing that by tomorrow we may have no chance left to say, "I forgive you." Impermanence does not steal our happiness. Impermanence is the gentle friend reminding us, live, love, for this moment will never return.